fundamental right. Fundamental right is myself against the public authority. And it is, for philosophical reasons, it is in German. Of course, when you read, for example, the African Charter on human and people rights, you find a very different approach. Because within the African Charter is not the individual per se vis-à-vis the state, it's more the individual as a member of the community that has to be protected, and if he as the individual has rights, for example, also duties vis-à-vis his community, vis-à-vis the state. The other thing is that when we are talking, for example, women's protection, women's rights, the United Nations Convention on Women's Rights is the most ratified by states where, in my opinion, there is not such a protection. Because if a woman cannot teach, cannot drive, cannot go outside, cannot choose her husband, etc., etc., you cannot tell me that the United Nations Convention is ratified. So, it is a choice that you have to make, in a sense, about whether or not certain rights are universal. Meaning have you don't have a better situation. It is true, of course, and I absolutely agree with the fact that civil and political rights are not enough. Because you have to have economic rights, because you have to have cultural rights, because you have to have the concept of development, sustainable development, etc. But I don't think that you will proceed in gaining protection for these areas, questioning the fact that there are certain rights that has to be recognized no matter where, no matter to whom. What I think is that it is true that the international system for human rights protection is a very unsettled system, is a very 6 years ago, finally, there was a convention on genocide. We can start from there. So I still think that individual protection at the level of civil and political rights is essential in a country. And in a constitution, it's very important to have the reference to international rules. And I'm saying it for my country. I'm not thinking about the situation of other places. I don't want to pretend to teach how to behave to another state. I'm thinking of my own country and the problems that we face. Very recently, the European Court of Human Rights has condemned Italy because of the situation in prisons. Because our prisons are so crowded that people inside suffer a great deal. And the European Court of Human Rights has said 2 months ago that Italy violates the European Convention rules on degrading and inhuman treatment. Because when you have too many people in one room in a prison, that's an inhuman treatment. When we have the problem of, you don't know, you've been in Italy since the why now I think you probably have heard or read about these, I don't know what's the English word, but the fact that we don't accept boats with illegal immigrants in our sea, and we send them back in the middle of the sea to maybe to Libya. This is a clear infringement of international rules on human rights protection. What can I give another example? There was a debate in Italy on whether or not to have quotas of foreigners in primary schools. Because it was said if you have too many children of non-Italian background in one class, this class, the children in that class will not proceed well in their education. So there was a proposal of making quotas, saying not more than 5 immigrants per class. So all those kind of problems, maybe we are lucky enough, apart from the economic crisis, not to face problems of food, in the sense that we are in a position of even the poor are not so poor compared to other places in the world, of course. But still, you can never tell that you are safe, in a sense. Even if you have a beautiful constitution, Italian constitution is a beautiful constitution. If you have the occasion of reading it, the first 12 articles speak loud of respect of rights, the right to work, also the right to education, also lots of social rights. But in practice, you can have all sorts of problems, even in a country where democracy is established, where the constitution is a liberal and democratic constitution, and even in this condition, the reference to international rules is essential. Pavel, who was, now he's retired, but who was a member of, who was a public prosecutor, so he was a magistrate. When I said to him, I'm going to study international law, he said to me, oh well, you have chosen the only subject that has nothing to do with law. And why? Because international law is a non-complete system as having sanctions. So if a state does not comply with international law rules, there is no power who can oblige it to do. There is no control system in a way. So if a state violates international law, the only pressure that you can do on that state is a political pressure, it's not a legal pressure. Or not political or economic, except the situation where the Security Council would enact sanction against the state, economic embargoes and things like that. But it's, as you know, it's quite rare. The United Nations Security Council enacts sanctions against states, and because the Security Council is a political organ and there is the veto system. No? So you know that the Security Council is one of the 5 big states that does not want the resolution to pass, he votes against, and the resolution is stopped, and there is no sanction. So, if you consider a legal system as a system where you have 3 main powers, the powers to enact legislation, the powers to execute that legislation and the power and the judiciary power to control the respect or the violation of the legislation.
Grazie.